Thanks for joining tonight. We have a special guest. I wanted to share this happy hour as part of our new UChicago Focus program that we actually kicked off last night with Harris School of Public Policy. Just a little bit of a background on UChicago Focus for those of you that didn't see the program last night. Actually, through this guest that we have this evening, we started to think about the idea of shining a little bit more of a light on some of the best things that are happening in the university. And so whether it's different schools or different divisions or centers or activities, UChicago Focus was designed and built around exposing those things to our Asia audience and then letting the Asia audience ask questions. So the team developed this program to share a lot of the amazing work that's being done by our colleagues in professional schools and divisions and at the faculty and the research level. So I'm really excited. This is our back-to-back second UChicago Focus program this evening that we're going to launch with our very special guest that's dialing in from Rochester, New York. He's going to talk to us about Alumni Awards, and so that we could learn more about the Alumni Board at UChicago and Alumni Awards, in hopes that we might encourage greater diversity and inclusion and representation from our Asia alumni community. So let me introduce Norman Young. He'll be brought to the screen, and just give you a brief background on Norman before he goes ahead and gives a presentation about the Alumni Board and Alumni Awards. Norman is dialing in from Rochester, New York. He's the Executive Director of Operations and Business Development for the Center for Health and Technology at the University of Rochester Medical Center. In Norman's role, he oversees operations, business development, and strategy in the areas of clinical research, innovation, clinical operations, and material management. Prior to Chet, Norman served in several business leadership roles, including as a VP and GM for labware and specialty plastics business for Thermo Fisher Scientific, the Chief Marketing Officer for Carestream Health, and VP Global Refractive at Bausch & Lomb. He also served in management positions at General Electric Healthcare IT, as well as for consulting firms McKinsey Company and Deloitte Consulting. Norman has an AB in economics from the University of Chicago and an MBA from the Kellogg Graduate School of Management at Northwestern University. Norman's been an active alum. He served as a class correspondent for 10 years, a member of the 10th and 25th year reunion committees, and an alumni interviewer. Norman lives in upstate New York in Rochester, as I mentioned, and has a wife and 4 children. And I would like us all to please welcome Norman Young for this Alumni Happy Hour.
Well, thank you, Mark and Kitty, and also Eddie for making the introduction. I'm delighted to be here. It's bright and early, 7:30. Been working from home since mid-March, so nothing better to do to join in a happy hour with some of the closest friends here in the University of Chicago community. First off, I was actually born in Hong Kong, and so I have a great affinity to the region and folks here. As Mark shared, I graduated from the college in 1993, and I make it back to Hong Kong every year, except the last year during the COVID. And some of my close friends is actually from the University of Chicago, including a couple that I see from time to time when I go back. So I'm, again, delighted to be here and appreciate the opportunity to share. I've been on the Alumni Board, as Mark has shared, for a couple years now. And what I'd like to share with you is we have a Alumni Awards that we want to actually see if we can actually have more representation from people in the Asia, Hong Kong, China region. And I want to make sure that I can share what those are and hopefully encourage all of you to think about folks that you know who would like to apply so that we can have a good pipeline of candidates, as well as potentially even entice you to join and apply for the Alumni Board. So with that, why don't I turn to the slides that we prepared, basically a short presentation, and then really leave some time to answer your questions about the awards and the board. With that, next slide, please. So as shared, I joined the Alumni Board about 2 years ago, and basically, the Alumni Board has kind of three purposes. One is we want to be advisory to the university, kind of being the voice of the alumni. And the Alumni Board is actually comprised of, as you can see, 25 plus individuals representing across the different schools. So there are 7 at-large members that could become from any of the schools, but pretty much it's kind of split up, 3 from college, a few from the Booth School, and then 1 from each of the schools like Harris, like the Pritzker Molecular Science, Lab School, Biological Sciences, Law School, etc. So you can see the current board members here. We also serve as ambassadors, which is one of the reasons why I'm here, to really make sure that we are building and promoting what we're doing at the U of C. There's a lot of great things that we're doing at University of Chicago. I graduated and went back for my 25th year reunion recently, and it's hard to even imagine how the school have changed. And I'm pleased to see that Mark and Kitty and others are really starting this huge Chicago focus, because there's just so much new initiatives being going on in the last many years in the university. Has made great investment in it. And then lastly, we want to be advocates, which is why I'm here today, advocating for alumni awards across the different categories, because there's a lot of prominent and successful and also dedicated alum who has given back to the school that we want to recognize. And so that's why I want to share a little bit what the awards are. Briefly, the president is Margaret Mueller, you can see here. And we have 2 persons serving of the executive committee. The reason why it's important to highlight here is 1 is head of the awards, which is a big function that we do to talk about and nominate and go through the award process. And then 2 is on the nominating committee for the board members. And I'll touch upon that a little bit at the end of this presentation, but let's focus on the awards. Next, please. When you look at alumni awards, there are some basic eligibility that I want to highlight here. 1 is that you must be alum, except for the Norman McLean Award. That's a teaching award, which I'll touch upon a little bit, because you don't necessarily need to go to the University of Chicago to be a great professor and teacher there. So that's not a criteria. You cannot currently be employed by the university. You are not in a position for elected appointed office. And then also you should have a couple letters of support, maybe potentially more. And let me run through the category, and I will actually share a little bit on each of the award. I won't touch on all of them, but I'll give you a sense of what are the different categories of award. First off is the Alumni Medal. I'll talk to it in more detail later. But this is the highest award that is given to any alumni. And I think I'll show in the next slide who they are and what the criteria is. Then there's basically 2 tracks. 1 is around service awards. This is really intended for alums who have contributed much back to the university. And you can see here, it goes from the highest medal to service award to the Young Alumni Service Award. And then the other track is professional achievement. And basically there's 2 broad categories within that, subcategories. 1 is the professional achievement, and then 2 is more early for folks who are 35 years or younger. But within the professional achievement award, there are 3 areas: business, academia, and public service. And I'll go into what some of the criteria are. And then lastly, on the Norman McLean Faculty Award, again, this is not limited to only alums, but this is also a very, very important and actually prestigious award, because we'll have a slide on that, but it talks about the teachers who impact students for generations, right? So let's go briefly into each of the category. Next, please. The Alumni Medal Award is created in 1941. It recognizes the achievement of exceptional nature in any field. The candidate, you can see the criteria here, but let me just highlight the picture here. Some of you may recognize is Gary Becker, the Nobel laureate. And if you look at our alumni site, which there's a link on the last slide, you can see the past winners. And again, these are this award is the highest award that's given of all the alumni awards. and is actually not given every year. So only is given when is well-deserved, and certainly you can see the list here, and you can go on the site to find out who they are. But the one broad theme I would like to highlight is that there's actually a lot of very successful alumni, including yourselves and others that you know, but we're looking for someone who's done some extraordinary things, either in the professional aspect of it or the service aspect of it. So I want to highlight that because that is an important criteria and consideration. Let's go to the next one, and let's cover the Alumni Service Award. This is actually a Alumni Service Medal. You can see here it's created in 1983 to award for extended extraordinary service to the university. And again, only one award is given annually. Again, this is the highest, if you will, of all the service category. You can see some of the criteria. In what ways has the candidate served the university alumni? Has the service spanned decades? So you can see the time and the consistency and the impact component to it. In what ways are they extraordinary? Again, I want to highlight extraordinary to be a common factor here. Has the service benefited the institution? And what is the breadth and depth of that impact? There's a number of past winners here. I highlighted Chung Wei Kung here. Some of you may recognize him. He's an MBA graduate in 1973, I believe. And he is the managing director of Wai Tai Holdings in Singapore, based in Singapore. And he was actually one of the person instrumental in creating the Singapore campus of University of Chicago before the Hong Kong campus. And he actually donated a lot of time and effort and not only make them building, but introduce a lot of the, make a lot of connections to the Singaporean government to even set up the campus. So this is the type of impact that we're looking at, and you can search more on him and his background, but certainly very, very significant contribution to the university. Next, please. Want to highlight a little bit of the Young Alumni Service Award. As I said before, this is a category for awarding and recognizing alumni with strong dedication, extraordinary service that are age 35 and younger. There's a number of individuals. I just highlighted Greg Nance here. The reason for that, interesting story about Greg is actually he spent time between Shanghai and Seattle. He went on to the University of Chicago on a full scholarship, was a Truman Scholar, and basically started a business that helped students procure scholarships, including mentoring a number of folks going to University of Chicago, et cetera. Very, very well deserved, along with other people here as well. But I thought that was an interesting connection. He, interesting enough, is also an ultra marathoner. So in case you guys are bored, he's someone who runs ultra marathons on a consistent basis, and that could be anywhere from 50 to 100 miles on some of these runs. So quite an extraordinary individual besides his contribution back to the school. Next, please. Professional Achievement Award. As I said before, this is something that is, this award that is dedicated for people who have outstanding achievement in their respective professional field. There's kind of 3 of them, and I'll go into a little more detail on the next slide. But there's 2 people that I highlight here. One is maybe you recognize on the left, David Brooks. He's also on the board of trustees. He's a pretty renowned political columnist in the New York Times. If you Google him, you will find him actually doing commencement speech for a number of colleges. I think he speaks a few times actually in the university as well. He wrote a number of books, including Social Animal, Second Mountain is the latest one, Road to Character, really remarkable individual. And then the one to the right for fellow scientists is Carl Sagan. And I think though if you probably have heard of him, he is a study both undergraduate and graduate at the University of Chicago, has been a professor and pretty renowned as a series on the universe. And again, a pretty remarkable individual with extraordinary kind of achievement in their professional field. Let's go through each category. Next slide, please. Here are the subcategories of it. We recognize that depending on profession you pursue, there's different areas of excellence. One is around business entrepreneurship and innovation. Second is around public service, philanthropy, and nonprofit leadership. And then lastly, on the scholarship, research, and academia. We try to actually, from an award perspective, we try to award one in each of the categories, sometimes maybe two. So we kind of, from a professional achievement award, if I recall last year when we awarded, I think we are fairly well represented in each of the category. Let's go to the next slide. When you look at the Norman McLean Faculty Award, this is one that in many ways, in my view, is potentially even very, very impressive, right? You're looking at a candidate with teaching and mentoring that has really contributed to the growth of students for across different generations. Here's some of the past winners you can see. I actually highlighted Lauren Berlant here. She is someone actually graduated from Cornell with a PhD, is an English professor, Pullman distinguished professor, but taught in the university since 1984 or 1986. So it's been spanning over 30 plus years. Again, I bet there's a number of folks potentially at the Hong Kong campus and others that may fit the category. Again, this probably have a certain length of time of service, but again, we'd love to get nominees across this and other categories. Next slide, please. Let's talk a little bit about the nomination cycle here. It opens in June, so we have a few months ahead, and we basically would love to have any one of you spread the word to see whether there's any deserving nominee in the Hong Kong, Asia, China region that we should submit for any of these awards. And let's talk about a little timeline. Next, please. So as mentioned before, the Alumni Awards nomination is open online starting in June. Basically, you can actually go through the website and see what kind of categories and find out more details about it. The candidates are required to have 2 or more letters of support. The more, the merrier, but we're also looking for quality. In September is when the nomination form closes. And then over the next 4 months, from November to March, the award alumni committee led by Lara Duran would actually go through a process to deliberate and shortlist a number of folks. And the people who are awarded the winner will be notified directly by the Alumni Board member. And all the nominators who submitted letters will be also notified of whether the candidate they actually submitted have been awarded. November 2021 is when the Alumni Award ceremonies are being held. This has been a little bit unusual than the past year. So typically in non-pandemic, non-COVID years, the November ceremonies actually honors the Professional Achievement Awards. And then we'll have a separate ceremony in June to honor the Service and Norman McLean Award. Last year and also this year, we're going to combine it into November. And in fact, last year, I think we did over Zoom, and we have to figure out, we're still figuring out how the COVID situations go into the US, but the award nominees usually invited to attend the award in person in Chicago, and hopefully we can do that in November. One other thing I want to highlight on the award is that for those who are nominated and they don't get selected, that nomination is automatically extended for the next 2 years for consideration. So as you can imagine, there may be a lot of really well-deserved nominees for professional achievement. And if we can only name 1, maybe 2 in each subcategories, we want to make sure that those that are well-deserved will get an opportunity to be awarded the following year and the year after that. Next, please. What makes a good nomination? This is where we need your support, is that one is, as I mentioned before, we're looking for at least 2, but typically we're seeing 3 to 7 high quality letters from people who know their work pretty well, who can speak specifically example to some of the nominee extraordinary success. And then the letters could be solicited from both alum of the school or not. In fact, when you look at the Professional Achievement Award, Adam Silver was actually the award recipient for Professional Achievement Award this past cycle. And some of you may know Adam Silver. He is the NBA, National Basketball Association Director of Operations. And one of his nominations is from Coach K, which is one of the most winningest coach from Duke University. So, that's a pretty quite high bar here. Again, the demonstrating impact is that they need to be impressive, extraordinary, need to stand out. And then also, how does this success of a nominee go above and beyond what is expected? Next, please. Now, if this process interests you, I want to put a plug here for Alumni Board, because one of the things that I observe being on the Alumni Board, that it's not as diverse as we would like, both in terms of geography as well as representation across, even though it's fairly well represented across the different schools. We'd love to see if there's anyone who would be interested in joining the Alumni Board. The nomination criteria is a demonstrated history of leadership and service to the university, commitment to attend 2 board meetings in Chicago every year. So it's been remote the last year, and we do have some international representation, but mostly US centric, to be honest. So it would be great if people would love to visit Chicago. Usually the Alumni Board meeting is in April or November to apply for it. Enthusiastic ambassador for the school, and also support the university and a philanthropic level. Again, I want to highlight that for the financial support, it's less around the amount, but more around the consistency and participation. The process nomination starts in June, and this would also look at least 2 letters of support. I think the last slide is one of the last slides is about the timeline. Let me walk through that. Next, please. Again, very, very similar. I actually personally serve on not the awards committee, but also, but really the board nominating committee. So we're, as I mentioned before, similar to the award nomination process. It opens in June and it closes in November. And then we're in the middle, actually, evaluating, assessing the board nominations right now. And similarly, we notified those who selected to be Alumni Board member in the April timeframe, and their term starts in July. Basically, it's a 2-year terms with 1 renewal that someone could serve for up to 4 years on the board. Again, similar to the service awards, those who are nominated who did not get selected this cycle will be automatically reconsidered the next 2 cycles. As you mentioned before, as I mentioned before, it's basically selected by each category. So if someone has been serving, let's just say in the Pritzker School of Medicine, and there's only 1 position open, and that person continues to serve over the 4 years, it's very hard for that person to get in. However, as I mentioned before, there's also at large. These are 7 spots that could be filled with anybody who graduated from any of the schools. So we try to make sure that it's well represented. And it's also a very competitive process, but it's one that I will love to see nominations coming from Hong Kong, Asia, and China. With that, this is the final slide. Next. We would love to engage you and answer any questions that you have relative to the Alumni Award, as well as on the Alumni Board. Let me pause here.